We are making sweet tea poached peaches. I'm going to sprinkle some fruit fresh produce protector in this water to help them from getting discolored. And I'm gonna peel them, slice them, and get them in that water. And I'm gonna do that for all of these. This is not a pretty looking side. It's very bruised up. I don't want that in my, gosh, what would be the word for that? I don't want to use it in my recipe. Okay. So I'm gonna slice up the good stuff. I'm excited to try this recipe because I think it'll make some really good drinks, and that is why I'm making slices. I think it would make a really nice tea punch for holidays or parties or get-togethers. So we will give it a try. We have nothing to lose since we have really ripe peaches that need to go somewhere. And they taste spectacular. That's a good thing. This is why I like peeling my peaches. It is faster, it's less dishes. I'm using the same cutting board that I'd be cutting on cutting the slices with anyway. I don't have to worry about ice. And my peeler, it's serrated, so it doesn't take chunks of fruit off. It just goes right across it. Takes the skin off nice and easy. Okay, so we have all those in here, sliced up beautifully. We're gonna make the hot tea. Okay, we have boiling water. We are gonna pour 3.5 cups into our pan. This is a family size tea bag, so I'm just using 1 instead of 4. If you had individuals, you would want to use 4. We're gonna let this steep for a bit. While we're doing that, we will get our water bath canner and jars. This has been brewing for a good amount of time. I'm just gonna do 5 minutes, and I think the directions said you could do like 15, but I'm afraid it'll be too potent if I go for that. So I'm just gonna pull this out now. We're gonna add 1 cup of sugar, and I'm gonna put this on low because it wants you to keep this hot. 1 cup of honey, which is what is left in here. We're gonna add some lemon juice. Just get the stickiness off my hands first. I also have my water bath canner to put on the stove. I think we need 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. That smells so good. We're gonna go pack the jars with peaches. Okay, so I believe we want to fill these jars with the peaches to a 1/2 inch head space. And it says 5 pints. Okay, and then we're gonna top it with our hot tea and debubble because we have chunky foods in here, so we don't want to have airspace where we don't want it. Just gonna give a quick debubble and then top them off. Very nice. Let's clean those rims. We're all set. Let's get them in the water bath canner for 15 minutes. Good morning. We are going to work on making barbecue sauce today, and it is a 2-in-1 barbecue sauce. We'll make a Stampede-Style sauce and a sweet and sour sauce. I pulled out yesterday some crushed pineapple and pineapple chunks in case we needed extra from my freezer. I have leftover crushed tomatoes from last year's harvest that I want to use in the sauce because it does need tomato puree, and I don't want to use my new tomatoes when I have this that we didn't want to use last year. I kind of got like to the point where I was done processing stuff at the end of the year, and I didn't have room in a freezer to throw the tomatoes in, so I ended up just crushing them and putting them straight into jars, and I never emptied them out to do anything with them. So we're going to use them today for our project. I need to come down here to get a couple ingredients I did not have in my kitchen. From all the jars we have, we will be getting these organized soon. So we need honey and soy sauce. Perfect. And that's it from down here. We are good. We're gonna get all of these ingredients organized before we get started. You know what? I was gonna use my food press, but I think I'm just gonna use this strainer. I think it'll be good enough for the barbecue sauce. So we'll get that out instead. I think I was using this pot, fits it good. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna put our jars over here because this will be all together. So crushed tomatoes from last year's harvest. We're gonna strain it out so we can get skinless puree. And then let's see, we will need pureed onions and green bell peppers. So that is all together. Mustard seeds, which calls for crushed, so I'm not sure if I wanna, I think I'm just gonna use the powder. I'm thinking that would be the closest thing. I don't have dried chili peppers, so I'm just gonna use some crushed red pepper. And we need celery seed. There we go. That will go into our mixture once it's ready, and that will make the base for our 2 recipes. Then our 1 recipe calls for molasses, malt vinegar, Worcestershire sauce, chili powder, and fresh ground pepper. The sweet and sour sauce calls for finely chopped ginger root, liquid honey, cider vinegar, soy sauce, and crushed pineapple with juice. We got this. All right, we need to measure out 16 cups of pureed tomatoes. So if this isn't enough, I have more. Probably won't be. I'm probably gonna need to break out the other ones, but we'll see. Let's get this started first. Tops are a little dusty, so I'm just gonna clean that off. They're not bad, just a little bit. These tomatoes smell so good. Even though they've been sitting on the pantry, still have a beautiful smell. We're gonna get a big measuring cup out here. Okay. I need to put this in something while I empty that out. That should work. That is 4 cups. We're getting about a little over a cup per jar. We're gonna need more. Get this on the stove. I'm gonna put our measured out stuff directly on the stove. We'll just pour it right in here, and then it's ready. We know this has 4 cups. We need 3 more of these. Kind of smells like Campbell's soup, tomato soup. I'll put these in the sink because these can get cleaned now. Okay, let's see if we can get this used up. Okay, we are at 12 cups, so this is the last quart that we need to get in there. We'll see how much we get out of this. This is the last of my crushed tomatoes from last year. Ooh. Oh my God, perfect. Literally the perfect amount. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. That was literally on the spot. Okay, I'm just gonna let this simmer for a bit to reduce some, and then we will get all our ingredients, we'll separate it and get all our ingredients in. We're about halfway through, pretty close to the simmering being done. So I'm gonna start cleaning and chopping these green peppers and pureeing the peppers and onions. Okay, so it calls for 2.5 cups of pureed green peppers. Some of these have gotten colored, and so those ones I'll save for something else, but for right now, I'm just gonna chop up all the greens that I got. Last year, I tried a sweet and sour canning recipe that I found online, and my kids did not like it. So I'm hoping that this one will be one they like, because they really like sweet and sour sauce, preferably from McDonald's. But I would love to find them one that they could enjoy at home, especially when I grew products in my garden from. That's pretty cool. Okay. Let's chop this up or puree it. That looks really good. I'm gonna get this in our mixture. And then we're gonna do some onions. That didn't take very many peppers. I thought it would take more, so I'm glad I stopped and mixed that up because I would have just kept going. Just gonna chop that in half and let the blender do the rest. And maybe this one too. And let's see how much that gives us. I need a little bit more. Perfect. We're gonna stir this up, very foamy on top now. And we're gonna get the rest of our spices in. 3 cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons of crushed mustard seed, 1 tablespoon of celery seed, a pinch of crushed red pepper. I'm gonna mix this up. And we're gonna boil gently for 10 minutes, stirring frequently. Then we'll divide this mixture in half and make each sauce. Because remember, this is a 2-in-1. This is the base all together. And then we're gonna end up with 2 different sauces from this. And it's starting to smell really good. Not just like tomatoes, which also smell really good, but it's getting more of a different tone to it now. We are going to pour this base mixture into this bowl because on the inside it has measurements of how many cups, and I think that will help me determine what half of this is the fastest way possible. So it is about 14 to 15 cups, somewhere in there. It's about 15 cups. I'm gonna put half back in here, and then I have another pot on the stove. I'm gonna put the other half in, and then we'll add our ingredients to make our separate sauces. And then we'll get the rest of this back in here. And we'll get this one. Oh no, I thought I was recording and I wasn't. I added my ingredients into the sauce to make the Stampede-Style barbecue sauce. It smells incredible. It is absolutely delicious smelling. I cannot wait to taste it. We just put it onto this burner. We're gonna heat it up and simmer for 45 minutes. Before I totally bring the other ingredients over for this one, I just wanted to show you, we added 3/4 cup of molasses, 3/4 cup of malt vinegar, which smells really delicious. It kind of smells like a sweet cross between apple cider vinegar and balsamic vinegar. We did 1/3 cup of Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons of chili powder, and 2 teaspoons of ground black pepper. And I was mentioning that I was very impressed that we didn't have to add a boatload of sugar, because when you go to the store and you get condiments off the shelves, about half of it is high fructose corn syrup, which is even worse than sugar. And we didn't add additional sugar. We just added the ingredients, and using the sweetness from the ingredients that we already had, this smells amazing. We're gonna make the sweet and sour one now. So let's get those ingredients. Here we are going to add finely chopped ginger root, 1 tablespoon. I have this paste. I'm gonna rinse this out real quick because we don't want it to taste like the barbecue sauce. We want this to have its own flavor. So 3/4 cup of honey. This one does have this type of sweetener in it. I guess I wonder if molasses is less sweet. And 3/4 cup of cider vinegar. Let's see, 1/2 cup of soy sauce. I'm gonna have to get a new. And 2 cups of crushed pineapple with juice. This one will be really sweet. I'm gonna stir this up. I don't know that my kids are gonna like this one either, but it really does smell good, and I think it would go so good with pulled pork or even meatballs. It smells very good. Very pineapple-y smelling. All right, so we'll get that cooking. We want to cook this until it gets to our desired consistency, and it will be ready to jar up and water bath can. So I'm gonna get my dishes, my counter cleaned up. The sweet and sour sauce and the Stampede-Style barbecue sauce.